Hey, this is Dan from GigaBoots.com, and welcome to our first, and only for a while, podcast. In this, we're going to cover some recent gaming news, some stuff from the Game Developers Conference on the NGP, and we're also going to have a quick argument/debate about the NGP and the 3DS. Today, we have with us the whole staff of GigaBoots.com, co-founder Bob.
Hey.
Co-writer Eric.
Oh, yes.
And co-writer Dr. Aggro.
How come I'm the co-writer? I know bigger words than Eric. But I do like chocolate.
That was both retarded and petty. So let's begin with the news. Okay, so hitting up a couple of quick headlines. Apparently Arc System Works is working on a new BlazBlue title for the PS3 and 360. These aren't just, normal portable titles. These are full-fledged new BlazBlues. So that's good. I mean, everyone here...
hopefully that will not be a Continuum Shift 2, but in fact an actual legitimate sequel.
Yeah, I would imagine if it was Continuum Shift 2 on those consoles, they would be... They are porting, or, something phrased more like that.
Right.
Next news headline is apparently Kinect has sold 10 million units worldwide, and that makes it the fastest selling consumer electronics device in the Guinness World Records book.
I think you're lying.
It is an average of 133,333 units sold per day in its first 60 days.
So we basically hit an evolutionary dead end, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
When
pretty
you
much
start calling the
as a
herd.
species. The interesting thing here is that Microsoft, in case you didn't know, has been working with Japanese developers, very obscure ones, or rather more indie-like Japanese developers to do games for Kinect. Tokyo Game Show had quite a few new ones. Have you ever tried Steel Battalion, or have you ever seen it?
Oh yeah, I played. I got like the full treatment, dark room, big TV, Steel Battalion on the chair with arms, so it's set up properly.
Do you know about Steel Battalion 2?
There is a Steel Battalion 2.
Being made for the Kinect. With no huge panel. It's
God,
just...
What?
damn it, that's not the point of Steel Battalion.
Yeah.
If I wanted a Wii minigame to pilot my mech on, I'd fucking do that. The point of Steel Battalion was the huge-ass peripherals. You got the feel of flipping all the switches and turning the thing and hitting the button for the mech control.
Well, now it's like G Gundam. Okay, it's nothing like G Gundam.
G Gundam is like that Sega Genesis motion controller where you put the ring on the ground.
Activator.
Yeah.
I believe that
Oh
was
my
the
God.
name. Have you seen that thing?
Blast
I have not
processing.
seen that.
It's a hexagon that sits on the ground, and as your arms and legs pass over the different parts, they're different buttons. Actually, it's an octagon.
Yeah, I heard
I
that
think I've seen something like that in Las Vegas once.
I heard it actually worked pretty good, for Genesis games.
That reminds me of a video I saw online. Guy beats Ninja Gaiden with a dance pad.
That guy needs 2 blowjobs and 3 high fives.
So yeah, that's a pretty awesome video. You should look it up if you haven't seen it. Moving on to the next bit of news before we rage about Kinect anymore. Capcom is now admitting they've overworked their own IPs and that they should lay the fuck off of their various major IPs, that they just keep churning more titles out. They're not listing any.
That's weird because Capcom, they haven't really released anything other than like the only thing I can say they did this was Mega Man 9 and then 10.
Yeah, they did it really hardcore for Mega Man, and Resident Evil, because if you recall, Resident Evil 2 was the whipping horse of Capcom for a really long time. 1, 2, 3, Veronica X. What were the ones on the PS2 called, the online ones?
But yeah, Outbreak. But
yeah. Well, hey, look, it's a Japanese company. How long do you think it is a safe amount of time for them to go after making a mistake to admit they made it? I would say 4 years. So there you go. This times up perfectly with when they were last raping Mega Man.
It sounds like scientists admitting that water is in fact wet.
We're sorry.
Our
we should
logo.
have given you the heads up on that
In
one.
other news, Capcom admits their logo's blue and has yellow text.
wow.
Stunning. We got some information about Rage.
Ooh, nice.
Some interesting information about Rage. Apparently, the first announcement they had was that 3 issues for a comic based on Rage, will be coming out in June, made by Dark Horse.
That's good because I know about Rage.
Made by Dark Horse or published by Dark Horse?
Published published by Dark Horse.
Is anybody interested in making it?
They haven't
know?
said exactly who's making it. They just said that, Let's see, what else?
So let's see. It's a Dark Horse comic. So it's going to be ridiculously overpriced. Fun.
So that's all we know about it.
So
Awesome.
So that sounds great. They also announced some other things, but it's mostly showing stuff off. It's kind of hard to describe in voice. So I'm just going to move on to the next thing. Bob, you said you had some news for us to cover?
And we also have new Moondiver news from this previous week.
Moon what?
Moon Diver?
Yeah, Moondiver.
Is that like Echo the Dolphin, only you're flying through space and diving into some moons? I've never heard of it.
It's in fact a ninja game that's 4-player for PSN and Xbox Arcade.
I like ninjas. I like 4 players.
I like the moon.
It's made by the Strider Hero main designer.
I like Strider.
Oh, wow.
This appeals to everyone here.
That's
All right.
pretty badass. I enjoyed Strider.
The guy's recently been quoted with saying it's going to be a really hard game.
What an asshole. I'm going to make you pay for your beatings.
Let's see, where is this here?
I'm just kidding.
He repeatedly say it's a very old school mentality.
That he'll rape you in your sleep.
Yeah, that sort of
He will
thing.
sneak into your house in the middle of the night and punch you in the face. And if you don't block it, it's because you're a noob.
And he's been quoted as saying it's a good game to die. So I guess that
He's Magneto. Is that...
yes, he is Magneto.
This is Die and welcome to it.
Also, he revealed
snacks.
that each character, they're going to be 4 different characters because 4-player co-op.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Wow,
they'll-
that's good.
They'll all have different jump trajectories. Like didn't come out by anything previously, but he just says right here, I favor characters with stationary jump trajectories so that I can perform aerial attacks to take out enemies within reach. Whereas other ones have more variables. They can
that's
move.
very
That
interesting.
is very spiff. I hope at very least we'll both be able to select the same character in case, it's 4-player,
two
but
people want to have the same sort of control style.
exactly. Now, is that 4-player single console? Have they mentioned that? Or is
Yes,
that...
it is single console on one screen.
Thank you, God.
Awesome.
Because the only
They
thing
have
more frustrating than not having online co-op is not having single console co-op. That's how I feel.
And they also released some character bios, which are all really strange. I don't know.
In Englishy. I hear one of them's incomprehensible.
Yes.
Yeah, you were saying something about incomprehensible character design or something.
The main villain doesn't.
Faust?
Yeah, doesn't. They aren't very clear on what makes him so evil. He just is.
Okay, what did they
Hang on, is that
say?
the actual thing?
Yes, this
Okay,
is it.
Let's go ahead and
Let me read this.
aggro. Yeah, go ahead.
Behind the actions of the protagonist of Goethe's tragedy Faust, is the devil known as Mephistopheles. The devil's appearance is the genesis of all that follows, yet behind this boy by the same name is no such devilish influence. The utter despair that grips the world has rendered the devil himself mute. The world is stumbling blind at the mercy of the almighty youth's every whim. Okay, that actually kind of makes sense. He's talking about how he is a Mephistophelian character who doesn't have the evil drive that Mephistopheles has. His inner torment is caused by the world being a chaotic, uncaring thing. He is a character with the almost limitless power of a devil-like character, but who isn't evil, just sort of twisted by the chaotic world around him.
All right.
You speak crazy.
Yeah,
oh
I
my
majored
God.
in English.
Oh, wow. Was that a community
and
college? Or?
European literature, so...
Same thing.
And then each other character. Apparently, this is set in modern day. Something you
Oh.
probably wouldn't guess. But one of
No.
these guys says he's a what is this?
A
college-
part-time student.
A Californian college student who works part-time while studying at Stanford Faculty of Engineering.
I don't think that's what that's supposed to be.
That's all of them match this.
He's a master of espionage. So, Moondiver, and when's that coming out?
That's coming out March 29th for the PSN. We don't have a confirmed date for the 360 yet.
That's weird. Normally that happens backwards, kind of like with Hardcore Uprising.
Yeah.
Which we're getting this week, I hear, right?
Yes, we are getting that on Tuesday.
Along with Parasite Eve. Confirmed. Parasite Eve PS1 coming out this Tuesday.
Oh, okay, not third birthday. But
No, not third birthday. Third
Gotcha.
birthday is also the 29th.
Threads of Fate, still kind of MIA. Still waiting on it. Really pissed. Really pissed.
Well-
What Threads of Fate?
You know,
Maybe one
honestly, with Parasite Eve coming out, I would not be surprised, or Third Birthday coming out, I would not be surprised if 1 and 2 took up the 2 weeks leading up to that. So if it's Parasite Eve 1 this week and 2 next week, and
Well, I think it was. I heard it was a rumor that was supposed to come out last week. Like they brought a few over. They were supposed to come out in like a 3-week span. Still haven't seen it.
Maybe
Yeah.
it'll be beginning next month then. If it may just got pushed back by those.
That would
Yeah,
make
by that
sense, and
stuff.
it does give me more time to play Pokemon before it comes out.
You know, real quick note on Parasite Eve, guys. The whole idea of hyping the game is releasing the PS1 Classic You're giving us a week to beat Parasite Eve 1, and that's reasonable for a kid. That's reasonable for anyone with a lot of spare time, but it's not reasonable for most people I know.
And then you're giving them a matter of hours to beat 2.
No, they're figuring you'll play 2, realize how much worse than 1 it is, and then put it down. And you skip it? Yeah. What were you going to say? You were going to say something about something.
I don't even know.
Back on Parasite Eve 1.
Something
Do not.
Do we know what came out this week other than all those Disney games for the PSN?
Yeah, did we get a PS1 classic this week from Square Enix?
I don't know.
Wasn't it Vagrant Story? Or was that last
That
week?
was
last
week.
week.
That was last week.
I remembered the bunch of Disney games.
Ah.
I think that's about what we got.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. But in
It was
any
just
case...
the noted lack of Threads of Fate.
Yeah, I didn't see anything from Square Enix this week. They're like, one Square Enix game. What does that equal into everything Disney's made? Oh, everything Disney's made? Okay, well, then we'll do that this week. Okay, so with the slight little news we're going to cover tied up, let's go ahead and move on to the NGP stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so they actually talked about the NGP at the Game Developers Conference, GDC, and from what I read, not too many people made a hubbub about this, and I thought some of the stuff they showed off was interesting, so I figured I would show you guys and mention it on the podcast. So one of the first things, the cameras that are on both sides run at 60 frames per second, so these are decent quality cameras.
Nice.
Apparently they're going to use that for motion tracking and stuff like that, and they go into details on that later, so I'm just going to go to the next slide here. The weirdest thing about the NGP, it's going to be a cutting-edge piece of hardware. And this did pop up in a couple news articles. And its game cards sizes are 2 gigabytes and 4 gigabytes. They don't mention the possibility for a larger card. It caps out there. And they say that 10% of that is actually going to be for save data, patches, and downloadable content. So
Yeah, that's really small.
that is really small for...
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
the
you can have a
PSP's
DS
UMD...
game, 2 gigs. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
you can have 2 gig and 4 gig DS games. That RPG you were playing, I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember.
Sands of Destruction. It
Yeah,
had
that's
lots
a 4 gig, I'm pretty sure.
It was a really
It's
big
a
one because it had
huge
all the voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not hard to take up 4 gigs of space. PS2 games were, like, some of them were 9 gigs. We had dual-layered PS2 games. Now, admittedly, texture compression is a lot better on more recent pieces of hardware, but that doesn't change the fact that some things, such as audio especially, haven't really compressed better over time. We pretty much perfected compression of audio around PS2. Or at very least, there's not enough of a difference to make a huge difference.
Now, I'm no computer expert, but maybe the data's really, really packed in there.
Maybe they
Win
pushed...
zip.
Maybe they... Everything is in a WinZip format.
Okay,
The
hang on,
best
something
thing they could find.
Something I'm confused about. Game card. Are we talking about actual physical copies of games?
Yeah, actually, I know not a lot of people have heard about the NGP. I've had several people actually say to me that the only information they've known has been coming from GigaBoots.com. Because, you know, a lot of the people around this area have started following our website. Yeah, we're getting actual physical cards. And the first thing, this ties into something else that isn't in this slideshow, but was mentioned elsewhere. The first thing people go is, okay, is it SD? Is it memory stick? It's apparently neither. It is a new format,
Their own proprietary sort of
it's
cartridge.
called the NVG. I don't know why it's called NVG
Oh, great.
at this point.
Another 3-letter thing I get to memorize.
Yeah, that starts with N.
And then
Thanks, Sony.
Please,
Thanks.
like, are we going to stop calling it the NGP soon?
I
Like, will it get an
hope that
actual
Maybe
name?
at E3. They
I
won't
just
give us a
stop
name.
lying because
And-
it's the PSP2.
Maybe they want to go with the Super PSP.
That would be so
Actually, that's funny that he calls it that because the design of the NGP, you've seen its oval-like design. Its design is called the Super Oval.
How is it better than a normal oval?
It's super! Because Sony made it! I'm not kidding, Aggro. This is real.
It's called the Super Oval. Okay,
The Super Oval design.
I listen to artifacts talk to each other all the time. Super Oval is the stupidest, most simplistic. It even has an internal term between design teams.
Should we call
The
it the
Super Oval?
Yeah,
It's fucking round, bitch!
Round bitch oval design didn't sound as good for marketing. So in any case, the NVG is an exclusive card format by Sony. So what I'm thinking is 2 gigs and 4 gigs. 3DS already announced their games can go up to 8 gigs and larger in the future.
Yeah.
The only reason I can see for 2 gigs and 4 gigs is perhaps they've made an even higher bandwidth, like higher pin count and faster access memory. That's the only way 2 and 4 gig is a responsible size for games.
I'm going to just say maybe. They're just, the cards are just a joke. You get the card, then you go download the rest of the game.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. You may I don't.
That would be
I was
so
actually
bad.
That may be something they do. Sony has made bad decisions in the past, and this is the PSP we're talking.
Oh, come
about.
on! This isn't the PSP. Go talk about something else.
Oh.
You're a bad man.
They're a bad company. They made. Okay, here's the thing. I have to defend Sony a lot on their decision on a couple of things. Like the backwards compatibility with the NGP is digital only because they can't support UMD going forward. It's a burden.
Uh-huh.
The PSP Go was a way of them putting something in the market to help them get developers to do digital releases.
Right.
Because before that, it was very hard. Now, this is relevant, and it comes up in a... Actually, no, it's on this slide. There's a single submission process for both the physical card and the online store.
Huh.
Because apparently, the legal logistics of getting their UMD game onto the online store is so intense, that is why a great deal of the games are not making it there.
Wow.
The contracts they're signing to make these games for the music in them and various other assets is so strict in a lot of these cases that they cannot make it work. That's why the Japanese store has so many PS1 games and the American store doesn't.
Fuck me.
Yeah, welcome to America.
Wow. That is unnecessarily asinine.
So, now that I've done that spiel, hey guys, there's a single submission process for both the card and the online store.
Nice.
Thank God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Threads of Fate?
Oh.
For now, patience.
For now, patience. Okay, they give us a bit more information on the ARM 4 core or the ARM 9 cores that power this beast. There are 4 ARM 9 cores on the processor, and then there's also a really long model number for the graphics chip. But they don't give us really nitty-gritty stuff. But what they do mention is an interesting thing about the chip for the graphics, the GPU. Apparently, the GPU has a tile-based deferred rendering system. So what it does is it's a multi-core design that chops up the image into these different, this is exactly what the end user will see now shade. So each and every pixel will be very efficient with how much shading power isn't wasted.
Nice.
Right. So
Yeah,
Different
so
rendering. Wasn't
Killzone uses that. A lot of Sony games started using
I heard
that.
Insomniac was talking it. Wasn't Insomniac a few years ago talking about deferred rendering?
I'm not sure if Insomniac used it. They probably did, looking at Ratchet and Clank, but
Yeah,
I
I
could
think
be
they-
wrong on that.
I was like, looking at Resistance 2, no.
Looking at Resistance as a series doesn't.
Yeah, no, I think after Resistance came out, they talked about, we figured out a great way to program, and I think it was the deferred
These
rendering
other guys
thing.
have been doing this, and we're apparently tards. A quick list of games. I know Little Big Planet 1 did it. 2 didn't.
Huh.
They actually found a way to make their rendering engine a bit more flexible, a bit more powerful too, so they didn't have to do deferred rendering. Killzone 2 and 3 use it, and a bunch of other games out of Sony have used it because it's more efficient. You can do a lot more tricks. In fact, the number one reason why they would use it, the RSX, the GPU in the PlayStation 3, for those who don't know, would pre-process the image, and then it would send it over to the cell processor to do all these insane levels of shading. So that's why the PS3 did it. Now, the NGP is probably doing it for power to
Yeah, I was
processing
gonna say, is this
ability.
going to actually limit or make it not need to use as much energy from the battery?
Yeah, it's actually, this sort of architecture should theoretically take less energy than that of a more powerful system to get the same what do you call it? The same something to the same ends.
Oomph.
To provide the same means, processing wise, to have the same oomph. Now, something most people don't know about that actually, because the first thing people ask me when I say this to them, usually, not saying everyone in this podcast, but elsewhere, wouldn't cutting the image up cause weird image problems?
Not if you do it right.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually not that novel. I haven't seen deferred rendering engines done like this, but I have seen anti-aliasing. The 360 actually tends to do this.
Didn't that one, or the Saboteur do something like that?
Saboteur has an insane anti-aliasing, and other than it looking insanely pretty and being a very custom solution, I don't know much about it,
Right.
to be honest.
I'm seeing at before you go to the next slide. I'm seeing the bottom of this one.
Dedicated hardware for media playback.
Yeah. That's
Let me
crazy.
explain. For those who didn't hear me clearly, there's dedicated hardware on the system for media playback, such as videos and music and etc. The reason for this is if you look at NVIDIA's Tegra system designs, it's called System on a Chip, SoC. They'll provide more idealized, more optimized hardware to do these other functions, so that way they're not wasting clock cycles, so that way they're not powering more hardware than they need to make it more battery efficient. It's a really smart idea.
Wonder if that'll let us have some custom soundtracks too.
You know, honestly, that's what I was thinking about too. It's like hopefully that'll be able to bring the custom soundtracks into the game.
It'd be really nice if it was working on just separate hardware.
Now,
Well, okay, hang on. While we're on hardware, one thing I've heard about all the time, regardless of how much I understand it, is that Sony has always had a problem with very low RAM on all their hardware.
yeah, actually, the PS2 has a ridiculously small amount of RAM. The PSP was originally going to have 8 megs of RAM. And
Wow.
Let's do that math real
I have
quick.
images bigger than that on my computer.
8 megs of RAM for the PSP. When you were reading off a disc, like with a cartridge, it would be a bit better, but you're reading off of a disc that holds 1.8 gigs. Developers pretty much had to
Amazing.
scream at Sony until they realized, oh, this is shit.
Rocks through window, causes like
32
more.
megs or something?
Like you could see the end of Ava death threats showing up on their front fucking door. Eat a dick in hell, Insomniac. What did you say?
What did they end up going with the PS?
32.
Okay,
32. Now, the funny thing is, even that wasn't that good for such a large format games to be on.
Right.
So the PSP 2000 unit and 3000 unit had a buffer of 32 megs slapped on top of the first 32 megs.
Is there a reason they would put less RAM in there?
They do it to save money per console unit. Generally, on the PS3, for example, and the PS2, they use really high quality RAM. Like, ridiculously. The PS2 used Rambist RAM, which is a RD RAM. And then the PS3 used XDR RAM strapped straight to the cell. And then GDDR3, I believe, on the RSX. So getting twice as much of that RAM, since it's such a rare RAM, because both of those RAMs, not the PSPs, but those were produced by a company owned by Sony called Rambus. So they didn't exactly have the economies of scale for RAM working for them. Right. So the larger the chips they were using, the even more exponentially screwed they were on the economies of scale. So moving on, because Sony just needs to learn more RAM. We'll come back to that later. Yeah, apparently the NGP has 4 cores, as I was saying earlier, 4 ARM9 cores. Only 3 of them are available to applications. The fact they say applications here is especially noteworthy. I would not be surprised if Netflix showed up on this like it did the PS3 and the 3DS.
Like gets into the Android App Store.
It would
Yeah.
be weird if it did.
Actually-
We're talking about that the cross with the phone
The
platforms.
PlayStation Suite.
Yeah, the Suite.
I'll get back to the Suite later, but they did outright state it's not going to run Android. So it's probably not going to run Android apps either. Just PlayStation Suite apps.
Well, those could be like when they talk about Nook running on Android, they may be taking some Android apps and versioning them over to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because PlayStation Suite exists on top of Android, a lot of people will probably do that, repurpose their Android apps to work with PlayStation Suite. But that really depends on how persuasive Sony is, the benefits of that.
Right. So what might happen is what happened with the Nook is people just hack the fuck out of it and run an Android OS on it.
Now,
Yeah. Real quick, another thing. Apparently, Sony has the head of Sony, I believe, or at least Kasurai, has identified that they could, if PlayStation Suite gets popular enough, let it run on the Sony Google TVs.
Huh.
Yeah, because the interface for that's controller-like already. They could actually let it
be
run on
crazy.
that, and that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Having a PlayStation Suite, like, oh, I bought this PlayStation Suite game. It works on my smartphone, my smart TV, my NGP, my...
oh my God, you're so rich.
Now, if you're lucky enough to own 2 1080p HD TVs... Audience,
Email us your address and when you're not home, and if you own any large dogs.
I love that E3 2005 quote. Do you remember that?
I'm not
The
sure.
thing I just said, what came out of Sony at their developers at the
God.
E3 of 2005, back when they were going to have 2 HDMI ports on the PS3.
Oh my god.
If
in
you're
05, if you owned 2 HD TVs...
If you owned in
you were Bill
2005,
Gates.
yeah,
Done.
2005,
List over.
two
He could only afford
1080p
2 of them.
HD TVs, just ridiculous. Real quick, not going to stay on this too long. Apparently, the cores have full cache coherency. To quickly describe that, the PS3's 6 SPUs, 7 SPUs, they were like floating islands of processing power. This is more like people in the same house. They all know what the other are doing. If they went to refer to each other's RAM, they would know.
We're just studying.
Okay, so we're here on a RAM slide, and it says the NGP has a lot of memory compared to the PSP. I hope so. Closer to the PS3 in memory slide.
But there's no
size.
number.
Yeah, there's no number here.
I
It's
bet they haven't nailed
closer.
this
Like,
down.
fitting games into RAM should not be a big problem.
They're
Wow.
going to developers.
That was
They're going to
nebulous.
developers, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna put 128." Developers are like, "No, what is wrong with you?" Yeah. Actually, we have no information on what they think they're gonna stick in. So, here's the weird conundrum they're in, though. It says closer to the PS3 in size. That to me says it's closer to the PS3 than the PSP, which still means under the PS3. Because otherwise it would be around the PS3 in size.
Right.
It runs PlayStation Suite games. PlayStation Suite runs on the Xperia Play, which is a 512 megabyte phone, and other cutting-edge smartphones and Android devices like the Motorola Xoom XOOM, which has a gig of RAM. So if the PlayStation Suite is meant to be this cutting-edge application service for phones and such, and they have 512 megabytes of RAM, wouldn't the NGP need 512 megabytes of RAM to run these?
You would think.
At,
I mean, that would make sense.
I mean, you don't want Suite to only take up 256 megs of RAM. That would, yeah, it's a
No,
little
that
weird.
would be... I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I've been lost since, like,
RAM
10
is like
minutes
cake.
ago.
More is better till you get too much, and then it's just bad.
Oh, okay.
That's not true.
No.
RAM is like
you can't have too much RAM.
RAM is like science.
I mean, like, not processing power. I'm talking about, like, spatially, in your tower. You run out of room for RAM. And then you're, like, tripping over RAM, and you fall on RAM, and RAM's fucking sharp. I don't know if you've ever fallen on it.
Here they're noting it uses programmable shaders like the PC and PS3. That's not quite accurate. From what I understand, they aren't going to have unified shaders, which has been the shit since 2005, 2006, when the 360 came out with unified shaders. Not going to go into that, just noting, for the people who know what I'm talking about. On this side, they're talking about people can use existing assets for full-fledged PS3 and 360 games. They just have to ass it up a bit. Just make it look worse, and it'll run on the NGP. So that's interesting. We're back at the situation when people made PS2 games, and then they ported it to the PSP.
Yeah, I don't think that was a good situation, so I don't
No.
know why they want to do that again, but...
I don't know either.
That is kind of not... Like, that was my problem with the PSP. When it came out, like, the big thing about it, I'm like, oh, it's going to be this machine that'll run PS1 ports and, like, JRPGs that don't have a huge graphical draw on them. But instead it turned out like, hey, let's make shitty versions of console games.
Yeah.
And that's really what kind of dampens the PSP in my mind. That needs to not happen again.
And yet, here we have them talking about it's easy to port things to it.
Yeah, they really want that, apparently.
I have to note, there is an importance on portability in this market. Games are so expensive that, having a portable version of your Call of Duty, which was their major thing at their January unveiling of the NGP, having your Call of Duty portable is such a valuable asset to a consumer, to a developer as well, and especially a publisher. So portability is important here. Like, I would like to have a version of Mortal Kombat for this thing that has all the features of the console version. Like Tekken 6. Tekken 6, I would have really enjoyed it if I had the portable version with all of the features from the console version.
You totally wanted those features, like the
brawler.
The brawl mode.
I love the brawler. that was my favorite, especially how all the trophies were in the brawler mode.
Oh my god.
That's what I wanted.
Dripping with sarcasm.
Drip, 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 drip. Fuck that mode. Moving on. Yeah, so they're just talking ports. It's easy to port. Something I'm glad they brought up here is they're like, it has touchscreen on both front and back and buttons. Please don't use the touchscreen for things that should be buttons, which is
don't do it.
Which is a bit ironic. They actually have Sony Bend, the people who made Resistance Retribution, which was a really good game from what I understand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They had them do. They're working on the Uncharted for the NGP, not Naughty Dog, but they're apparently the best studio Sony has going currently.
For portable,
and they,
right?
Yeah, for portable. They're the best portable developer Sony has going currently.
So they're working on the Uncharted?
And they're working on Uncharted as an IP, which makes sense. Uncharted is the best IP Sony has currently.
It's the strongest one.
So pairing them up with the best developer is a really good strategy. But what's ironic about this slide here is a lot of the stuff that team coded into the demo, which is just a demo, like a tech demo featuring Nathan Drake, is gimmicky. Like, he gets up to a log and it's like, hey, stroke your finger upward on the touchscreen to make him jump over the log.
Well, yeah, it's a tech demo for new hardware. That kind of makes sense that it's ridiculously gimmicky.
Yeah, they're just showing off all the features. But it is a bit ironic with that slide there.
Wait, they are making, I heard, a Resistance game for the NGP, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then who's making that?
Yeah, that's right, Aggro. Thanks for bringing that up. Actually, the people who are making that is making PlayStation Move Heroes. And
so what I'm hearing is that
nihilistic software, or nihilist.
The sky darkens and all hope is fled from humankind, and it's time to commit ritualistic suicide.
Yes, that is pretty much, if you enjoy the Resistance franchise, from what I've seen out of this people, what else did they make? Conan, the bad Conan,
the
bad
gen? PS3 Conan.
And what else? There was something else that was just so irrevocably bad.
Like, they were the ones that were working on StarCraft Ghost.
StarCraft Ghost.
And got kicked off. And another team brought on, and
they're like,
we can't fix this. This is bullshit. We quit.
This is worse than the time we worked on Duke Nukem Forever, eh? That's what happened there.
Wait, so they're Canadian,
fire
so did they make
all
Neverwinter
those
Nights?
assholes.
That development studio, as much as I want them to escape their bad streak, I have to wonder if it's even possible. So hopefully they will prove us wrong with this Resistance game, and not all lost is hope. Not all lost is hope. Not all hope is... Daniel, a new sentence. In any case, very interesting. You actually won't get this news anywhere else, because I've been keeping an eye out for it. The people who made Little Big Planet, Media Molecule, is hiring programmers for portable, who have experience in portable graphics chips.
Nice.
Thusly, since Little Big Planet is brought up in this slide and it was brought up in January for the unveiling, Media Molecule themselves, because they are already such a small developer, are handling Little Big Planet coming to the NGP.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah.
It's like if Naughty Dog were to step in and be like, hey, here's like, and everyone sounds like this in the game, and I make games, because I sound like this. Here's our little Uncharted for the PS or the NGP 2.
Neverwinter Nights just ruined your vision of the gaming industry, didn't it?
A little bit.
All those Canadian bastards.
Yeah.
Man,
every
even better
game that's bad.
If
definitely.
Naughty Dog came back and was like, here's a Crash Bandicoot game. Thank you.
Yeah, that would actually be hilarious. You know that the reason why we haven't, like, Sony's forsaken that is not because the rights were sold off, but the rights were convoluted to begin with. Sony only owned a half or maybe a third of the rights of Crash Bandicoot.
Who owned the rest of it?
Universal.
The fuck?
Yeah, Universal was funding the Naughty Dog. Funding Naughty Dog to make Crash Bandicoot for Sony. Sony was
the industry was much different back then.
Yeah, it was some convoluted shit. Once again, this is why it's so hard to get games on the digital store. There's so many people that have their hands in the pot.
Makes sense. Because that was back in the day, like, get in on it.
Yeah. So that's that. And moving on, the cameras, they're showing off a couple of uses to it. They have two things they refer to as passive and active. Passive being we're going to take a picture or we're going to take a video of what's happening and then use that just outright. And active being processing it. So some uses of passive camera. ridiculous ones like take a picture of the player and use it as a damage marker, like draw some bandage.
Like Doom 2 shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they were showing. Like
that'd be pretty cool.
That would be funny. I want downloadable games to do that. Yeah. I don't want like serious
like Game Boy camera shit going on.
Yeah, I want the Game Boy camera app. Game Boy camera was really fun. And then this note on the bottom I find especially funny. Take video of the player used during replay videos. Like shows you start dying, shows your face of you frustrated. No, like, shows you
when
dead.
You connect the NGP through your Facebook account and you die for the third time on Uncharted, it posts that directly to your Facebook.
Now the funny thing is they really keep pushing social networking.
Yeah,
like in a lot of these slides. So hopefully that will happen. He made this face.
That's the kind of thing I'm wanting for. Like, so before you post that you got this like gold or this platinum trophy, it's already got a picture of your face up there.
And make sure that you wear a shirt at all times when getting trophies.
Like, of course,
you're in public with the NGP naked.
Knowing Dan platinums whatever game Media Molecule's making, and like it posts the picture, and the NGP it's taking a picture of like the top of Dan's head and the back wall as he's throwing the fucking thing in the air in excitement.
Woo! And you can see like a half of a second of me adjusting from the excited face to the oh shit, I've thrown my $250 device. Which reminds me, at the end of this, remind me to bring up price.
Right.
Because I have an interesting little note on that. So yeah, here's a little video. It shows some slides of his car and then him looking excited because he's a derp. And then it says, camera records you while you're playing, which can be shared on YouTube. So it taking up a fourth of this processor, it's actually talking about doing some pretty cool features with it.
Yeah.
So that makes me glad. Another use of passive camera is take pictures of textures you want to use in Little Big Planet.
Nice.
Yeah, like, oh man, this block doesn't look how I want it. I'm going to take a picture of wood grain. Bam. Done.
But then someone's going to go, I'm going to take a picture of my penis.
Yeah, exactly. This penis doesn't look exactly how I want it.
No, that's really interesting. Like, back to the game with camera analog, you got to take a picture of a guy, maps his face to every enemy soldier in the game.
Exactly. Steve Vageddon.
Oh, God.
Take a picture of Steve and make him every character.
Steven, I hate you. Can I take a picture?
Sure, that seems odd, but now active camera. They're talking about games they've made in the past, like iPet and Invisimals, and how those games could.
Now I
work
don't
for
know
this.
Second Sight.
I've seen it before. I can't quite remember what it was. It honestly looked kind of cool.
All right.
I think it's where you go around your house looking for ghosts.
Yeah. I think
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked really neat. Here's the thing. Having the camera inside of the NGP is so much more valuable as a game platform than having an attachment.
Right.
I wanted Invisimals. I kind of wanted to see iPad. I didn't want to buy it for the PSP. I'm a real portable heavy player, which you wouldn't know from how few PSP games I own. But the camera being an attachment really killed that. Because, then it's like, okay, the entire cost of this device is warranted by these 3 titles I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So, okay. Another active camera feature they're showing off here is head detection and tracking. It's talking about reacting to them moving their head or tilting their face or making a face or blah, 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 blah. And this is apparently a library for the NGP development kit, and people can use this feature if they sacrifice another core to the mighty library god. So you get 2 of the 4 cores by the end of the day. Ultimately, I think this will really work out for people making downloadable games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this sort of feature where it's like, hey, track that guy's face. Here's another chunk of the processor. I'm not going to use it anyways.
Like Phoenix Wright starts coming to the NGP. They don't need all the cores to render Phoenix Wright, so the rest of them are developed to the face tracking. Like, it looks like he's lying.
Like, let's watch his lips. Is he saying objection right? I don't think he is.
He's got a Canadian accent. Don't count it.
What are you doing in our career?
Does he look like a bitch?
Every NGP... every NGP comes with a GPS device in it. It's going to use this system called Near. Near location base. They brought it up in January, but Near Replica is not what we're talking about here, but thank you for bringing that up. Because we're sorry for anyone who bought it. We're gonna get so much hate mail from Nier fans. In any case,
From who?
I found 2.
Oh shit!
One's on my friends list and the other's on
Or sure,
Destructoid.
the second wasn't the first guy in a mustache.
Then again, I don't know that the first wasn't the second, only on Destructoid, so never mind.
okay.
I found 1 or 2. Near location-based is something they talked about in January, but they didn't really say what it was. So here it is. Every NGPSP2 comes with a GPS device in it. Now, it feeds that information to the PlayStation Network, and you'll actually be able to access a menu that's like, hey, people are playing these games near you right now. Like, some guy at this part of town is playing Ratchet & Clank. Like, it's showing the screen with a little radar and these game icons. So that's kind of neat.
What I just heard is that your PSP2 is going to constantly be beaming your location to Sony headquarters.
Yeah.
Hack
it. Fucking do it. Fucking do it. Fucking hack that shit. It will be funny.
I believe Kaz Hirai, this is his method for calling out hits on people. Like, he can find specific Sony fanboys at any time of the day.
We found GeoHot.
No. Is Sony
Go.
tracking this information? The like, who's playing what in what area? Because if they did, that'd be very interesting. Because, like, the feedback you get in any sort of entertainment industry is always very limited and always very after.
This is true.
Exactly.
Like
Nielsen
where are
points.
the people playing Resistance? Where isn't Resistance taking
exactly.
off? Let's do added.
How many sold in that region? Oh, they all stole it.
Even more than that, really. Like, for video games, what you really have is the people. If your game doesn't have an online component,
Yeah.
or if your game was pirated to hell, it's really hard to track how many people are still playing your game, how long they're playing your
Exactly.
game. This is get much better because it's like shitty movies.
Yeah.
Everybody went to see the shitty movie, but it's still a shitty movie. If everybody buys the shitty game, but no one then plays the shitty game after hour 2, that's a lot better data to have.
Honestly, I've heard quite a few PS3 developers saying they have access to information like that to a significant extent. Like, they put code in their game that feeds it to their servers. I know the Uncharted 2 online has a lot of information like that, but I've heard other developers go, yeah, so we're seeing that people aren't doing this at all in our game. Oops.
Interesting.
And they see it as sort of their fault, which is good, honestly, because game developers need to stop being like the 2 human guys and blaming everyone else for their shitty camera system that wasn't that great, and they can eat a dick.
So we can also turn this around and be like, okay, the NGP is now the ultimate stalker device.
Yeah, Big Brother.
Yeah,
Right up on.
There's Big Brother, and then there's also this person's playing this game. Go beat him up. But let's think about it in the sense of like for our DSs, because the PSP is kind of dead-ish. It's not as alive as the DS. Recently, for the DS, in our area at very least, there's been a huge surge of people buying Pokemon that have not played Pokemon since the first game, maybe not even at all. So if you had this feature for your DS, you would just log on one day and see half of fucking where we live covered in Pokemon.
Of course, there won't be such an effect on the PSP because there's nothing going to be that big. But
This
still.
is true. Nothing could be that big on the NGP, except for
Like
maybe...
you heard it here first, Pokemon on the NGP.
You heard it here first. GigaBoots.com, fair and balanced.
and lying.
Breaking fake stories.
Breaking fake stories all the fake time. Yeah, except for Monster Hunter, but even then you would have to be in Japan. The Call of Duty!
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And, honestly, with that sort of information, the 3G functionality of the NGP becomes even more relevant, if you ask me. Anywhere you go, you can play online.
Yeah.
Anywhere
If
you
you get
go,
that version of it.
you can play online and pay monthly.
Yeah.
And pay monthly.
I'm not sure if it's a wise idea to have 2 hardware models for a portable device.
Yeah,
That's even more confusing than a console.
Yeah.
That will
That
be
will
weird.
that'll
I
make
like
things
it because
difficult.
I don't care about the 3DS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely is a plus for people who just don't want 3G.
Yeah, it's true. We'll come back to that at the end of this when we talk about price.
right.
So more on the near location-based thing. Scavenger hunts is something else that they mentioned as a possibility. It's very interesting. Like, let me zoom in on this slide real quick. You'll see that it says the name of some street in California, San Francisco. It's like a sturdy wooden treasure box. To unlock this box, you'll need a black key. And the black key is hidden somewhere else, and it kind of shows you it. So if you have a shitload of free time, you can get some weird
I would
free
love
shit
this.
for your NGP. I would love it.
This is really sort of supporting my Kaz Hirai calling out hits with the NGP theory.
Yeah, okay.
It's like
Take
it's like
the lead pipe and the sack.
There-
Go to this address.
there. Like what I see is even simpler than that, Aggro. It's like there is a platinum trophy right here. Person's driving straight to it. It was a cliff. They drive straight the
Now,
fuck
when it
off.
talks about like you need the black key, is this like invisible stuff? Like you look through the camera to find the black
That's
key?
what I'm thinking. You'll look through and that's even cooler conceptually.
that-
You look through the camera to see the black key.
That is really
You
fascinating.
can go to this location to unlock the box.
Like I'm wondering who's running that stuff. I mean, like how close it'll be locally for each city. Because we've got a lot of swamps around here.
Yeah, that's
So it's like 15 steps forward. Go fuck yourself.
yeah.
one trip to the hospital later with some obscure disease.
With our swamps, you don't get to the hospital.
Even better if you're able to sort of share this information with other people. So you're going around going, I am the keymaster. Where is the key?
Like leave a piece of paper tacked to a tree. I died as I lived, doing whatever Kaz Hirai told me.
Now, something else that's interesting about this isn't a game they're not talking about so much. Maybe the scavenger hunt is a game. Then this will make sense. This is something for free, like PlayStation Home, that just updates occasionally. Does it have trophies? How does it affect that? I could see trophies
If this
being
kind of
a
game
motivation.
had trophies, people will die.
Yeah.
This sounds like a way to disseminate ARGs, alternate reality games.
Yeah.
Which would be fucking awesome.
It would be.
It would be.
Imagine
Because
having your
ARGs
entire
are
install
awesome,
base
and-
available to play those games.
Seriously. Like, Kaz Hirai's like, today we start a gang war. Let's go.
Okay, Mafia War Day.
Oh, Kaz Hirai. May
Kaz
he
Hirai.
have mercy upon us all.
Becoming Canadian in Dan's eyes.
Everyone's coming. Did you actually hear Kaz Hirai? I should have covered this in the news segment. This probably didn't get covered. Kaz Hirai has positioned himself even higher up in the company. He's no longer over the consumer electronics division.
Is he just making up positions now? I'm
Actually-
Kaz Hirai, Baron Duke King Fuhrer.
Yes, actually.
Awesome.
His position I've never heard of within a company before. It may be that individual corporations have
He's the game master.
He is the super president.
Like, you look at his door and it says, Kaz Hirai, Kaz Hirai.
It's italicized the second time. And in a light blue cornflower font. But he's actually... I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't remember the exact 4-word title that he holds now. If you were to call it something, it would be Assistant CEO. So whenever Howard Stringer leaves, which he has announced he's leaving in a specific year, I think it's 2014 or
CEO
2013.
on deck.
Yeah, he pretty much becomes CEO. Kaz Hirai has gone from president of Sony America,
Just writes next on his door.
or Sony Computer Entertainment America, to CEO in 8 years. 9 years. That's pretty damn impressive, you ask me. That's like if, I don't know, any developer with Nintendo just shot up to...
Iwata started.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is
that's
true.
exactly what happened with
It is a very similar situation. In case you didn't know, Satoru Iwata was the head of HAL Laboratory, which made the Kirby games and Smash Bros.
Right.
And he became president of Nintendo.
Well, see, what I'm worried is that one day Reggie Fils-Aime will snap and devour the flesh of everyone higher than him at Nintendo and declare some sort of dark martial law over the company and just keep making Metal Slug games and only Metal Slug games, which I'll be cool with for a while. Like, don't fucking question him. If you question him, he eats you too.
My name's Reggie. I do this with my hands. I don't
He
understand
murdered
it.
everyone in SNK Playmore 2, I take it.
Yeah, he went over and devoured them, and
He
he
didn't
now
have
owns
to.
the rights.
That was for fun.
I will devour everyone in the Americas.
In the Americas, as they cross those pristine shores.
He also killed every other employee that works for Square Enix. That took him 2 weeks.
Or a meal. Okay, now that we're done putting disturbing images in everyone's head,
Done with
let's
Reggie, the flesh god.
the flesh bringer, the flesh render.
There we go.
There we go. Reggie, the flesh renderer. You can quote us on that.
Blade Render.
I'm now terrified to go to E3, and he's like, "So, GigaBoots, what's up with that?"
Get him!
More like Giga sucks. But in any case, going back to the price point. Sony sold the PSP at a profit. They have this whole time. That's why it came out at $250.
Right.
And it was fairly cutting edge when it came out. Like the only things more cutting edge than it was super expensive stuff. Like way too expensive. So with that in mind, the PSP was $250 with accessories back in 2005 March in America, 2004 December in Japan. I think, and you can quote me on this and send me hate mail when I'm wrong. I think the NGP is going to be $250 at most.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3G model may be more expensive, but that actually may end up being carried through mobile providers. Because you're going to need a subscription to their 3G anyways.
Yeah.
You could see a subsidized NGP at Verizon, which Verizon also seems like a smart choice. One, because they push Android.
Right.
Sony and Google are in bed on so many fronts. I couldn't cover it in this podcast, like ebooks, TVs, etc.
Well, you could, but it'd be boring.
Yes, because clearly it has not been that so far. This has been riveting spec information.
Oh my god.
What are you saying?
I could really...
I
He's strapped into my seat.
Anyway. Sony and Google are having
So,
sex.
in any case, yeah, they diddle each other a bit. Like, they diddle each other. And Sony and Google are good. Android's great with Verizon. Verizon really has been pushing it hard because AT&T still has a lot of the same phones, but Verizon has had in the past and still currently more incentive to push Android. The Xperia Play, which is the PlayStation phone made by Sony Ericsson, is actually Verizon exclusive in the States.
Well, for a while, I heard that it was going to...
Yeah, it probably could. I mean...
Even the iPhone eventually moved.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, the exclusivity allows the Verizon to push the marketing a lot. That's, in fact, Droid. You remember all the crazy-ass Droid advertisements. That was mostly backed by Verizon.
Yeah.
So you could see something like that for the NGP, where Verizon's pushing the NGP as this awesome 3G gaming device that plays PlayStation Sweet games and is amazing with its OLED screen, and sell a subsidized contract NGP.
Yeah, that would get a good bit cheaper. I mean, with 2-year contracts or things, you always see discounts.
Yeah, exactly. So if we're talking about a device that's $250 to begin with, a subsidized NGP could end up at $100 with a year or 2-year contract.
Bundle with your cell phone.
That is not bad.
Yeah, if they can get it down to the $250 price mark, but I don't know. I think that they might push it higher.
Every single talk they've had with everyone so far is how they're these Kazurai, Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, and even America, every time they interview and somebody asks about the price, they keep stressing, we're going to be selling it at a loss. It is going to be more accessible to the common person. It is going to be our first product portably where we sell at a loss and try to make it downright cheap. Okay. And they have to, because the PSP was testing the market and learning. And what did they learn? Fuck pirates. That's what they fucking learned. So now they're back to sell at a loss, get it in as many homes as possible, and really push themselves home as an entertainment brand. Because the PlayStation 3, that was all about Blu-ray.
Yeah.
They could have sold it cheaper with the DVD drive and really, kick some ass. Probably come out earlier, too. Because if you recall, the PS3 was supposed to come out in spring of 2006. And then it got pushed back to December because not enough Blu-ray drives and... games.
But I think that's also all a part of Sony's branding strategy of creating the image of themselves as this sort of completely forefront, going on, high-tech company.
Yeah. So that's why if the PS3 is just now getting cheap and you have all those really cool high-tech gadgets like the Move, for example, for the PS3, and that's been a while and it's just now... I think it's affordable, personally, for what it does. That if you have a portable device that has this OLED screen, 2 touch screens, all these awesome features, and it's around $250 or even $200 or subsidized for less, that looks like a really fucking good bargain.
Yeah.
That looks like a great fucking deal.
Yeah. That would be an amazing deal.
No, that wouldn't be amazing. That would be a great fucking deal. That's Verizon's campaign. NGB. It's a great fucking deal already, damn it. You
I
were
just
saying?
go by 3
I
extra
guess they
phones.
wouldn't want to go up to this 300 because that would put them right there at the same price as a PS3.
Well, remember the PSP. The PSP was more expensive than the PS2.
this is true. So there is always that possibility.
There is probably going to be that. And are there not $250 PS3s, or is it 300
No,
and 350?
it starts at 300, and that's just the basic, the 160,
right, yeah.
and then it goes up from there.
Oh, okay. So yeah, 250 and 300 are going to come off as kind of close anyways, but they are, like, I cannot stress how pretty OLED is. Mm-hmm. And this is a really high res screen too. This is half the resolution of 1080p. This is almost 720p resolution.
Yeah.
It's going to look amazing. Plus it has 2 analog sticks, which, the 2 analog sticks we were talking about.
Yeah, that's...
This
I
thing's
love
not going to
that,
go in a pocket.
But yeah, the pocket, I don't see that working. Like,
Maybe the cover it comes in will accommodate for the sticks.
maybe it'll have some sort of hardcover. I guess that would do it.
Wouldn't that
I
make it
assume.
even larger?
Yeah, that would make it even larger.
Wait, what if it's a front plate? And that's it?
Ooh.
Well,
Because it already has an indented back panel.
Yeah, that's
Even-
true.
I don't
and
know.
you
front
don't wanna
plates are kind of... They're usually very flimsy, and unless they make something really well designed,
Really well designed.
yeah, then that's just
Well,
going to be a piece
I
of
mean,
junk.
that'll just make it super ovaler. I think they would do it. I think...
Oh.
I hate that.
And they're just going to make... Then you can put it in this gigantic pill. And I don't know what you do with it from there.
You
have
eat
something
it!
that won't fit anywhere.
Well, there's this horse, and
And you just I don't want to describe what happens after that. So yeah, that's our little discussion on the NGP and the GDC slides. Let's go ahead and move on to the 3DS versus the NGP. So just one moment. Now time for the fist fight. I mean the argument / debate on the NGP versus the 3DS. Just feeling out essentially what people here at the GigaBoots headquarters feel the prospects are for each respective platform. I guess I'll start with myself. I was actually really interested in the 3DS. I was going to trade in my DSi for it, but then I found out the backwards compatibility is kind of slipshod. It has something to do with the resolution of the screens not quite matching up, so when it upscales the games to the 3DS's higher res screens, it has to scale it poorly. This could be fixed in hardware or software theoretically down the road, but for me at launch, that's not good enough because I'm playing a lot of Pokemon and not enough launch titles appeal to me.
Yeah, that's something I definitely want to see how it looks when you get it in your hands, because we've only seen like one video from 1UP that actually showed us anything, and that was not high quality enough to really tell what was going on.
Yeah, but I would side from you with you on that, but I really do trust the guy who's talking about it. On one hand, I'm not gonna like if it's a random YouTube user.
I'm not saying that he's wrong.
Untrustworthy.
And just it's something I'd like to see if it's acceptable at all. I'm still holding on to my DS when I pick up.
See,
3DS.
For that, I could see that as acceptable. I just don't want to jump in the deep side of the pool and go, "Oh shit, this is lava."
Yeah, that's
Why is it warm on this end?
Why did I thought someone peed? This is lava. Eric, what's your take on this?
I'm poor.
I that's why I wanted to trade in my DSi.
Because
Because I'm poor.
I don't even have a DSi. I have a DS Fat.
DS.
That's how poor I am.
You buy once and forever.
That's it.
Diamonds are forever, but DSs might as well be too.
I don't know. The 3DS sort of struck me as a very odd thing because they priced it based on everyone's reactions, essentially.
Yeah, they did say that.
And
they came out and said
it feels more like they're releasing it from a position of major power rather than please buy this.
That's how Nintendo rolls.
Yeah, that's what people have been saying about the industry. That's kind of funny and trackable. That people who have the dominant sales on multiple platforms tend to fuck up. Like Sony heading into the PSP and the PS3. They're like, "Oh yeah, PS2, fucking world success, best console ever. We made Portable."
And suddenly we're no longer Canadian, and we are, in fact, Asian.
Super Asian.
Super
one might say.
Asian.
Super stereotype.
Aggro,
Asian
what are
in
your prospects on the 3DS personally?
Well, after E3, much like everyone else who saw Nintendo's conference, I was lined up for a 3DS like a communist in a bread line. I was fucking there. Then I found out Ocarina of Time, which is a goddamn religion in my house, wasn't on the launch title list. So I will very adamantly not give a shit about it until that's out.
Okay, so the entire merit and weight of this purchase depends on the sole fulcrum.
Yeah, the
of
3DS was a revamped Ocarina of Time adapter for my brain. That is its sole
I
purpose.
can respect that.
As soon as that game is released, the money won't even change hands. It will simply disappear.
After I beat at least the Shadow Temple, then maybe I'll go, oh, there are other games for this? Kid Icarus, you say? But until that moment, it is dead to me.
That's kind of how I feel too, because Star Fox isn't coming out at launch either. So really, on launch, all I have to look forward to is the Pilot Wings game.
Yeah,
and they changed the visual aesthetic to that.
Enough to like the Wii Sports Resort.
And that kind of turns me off, to be perfectly honest. I love the original styling. It was very Nestor. Hell, Nestor was in the N64 one. He was fucking there.
Yeah.
He wasn't called Nestor, though. But yeah, so...
the launch titles or the whole launch lineup is pretty.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I mean,
my
most anticipated game is Bust a Move.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's.
I mean, after they pushed off Dead or Alive and
Dead or Alive's no longer a launch game.
It is not a launch game. It's going to be early summer.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
What are we playing at launch, Bob?
Bust a Moves 3D.
I'm probably gonna buy Pilot Wings for. Is it?
Was that a launch title?
I believe that's a launch title.
Which one?
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4 is in fact a launch title.
But he already owned that twice over. To be fair.
It's our
Portaboo.
Butterbur.
that Portaboo doesn't help me much.
Especially when you're now just put on an even more ridiculous even playing field with everyone, because you can now select your special moves from the bottom screen.
I hear you can disable that for online play and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
It's an option. I think that's actually pretty cool that they want to show it in there and try and make a bigger audience. That's the better way to hit a bigger audience, I think, than Marvel vs. Capcom's simple mode, where you can just mash a button
and win.
Two face buttons, magical rape combos.
That doesn't get anyone near learning what's actually going on at all. They're just mashing buttons and kind of having fun with it.
But it is fun for cheating while your friend is out of the room during character selection.
All right.
Sure enough. Street Fighter 4, Ridge Racer's coming out on it. I haven't seen a whole lot of that, and that disappoints me because I am a huge Ridge Racer fan, but I also know there are shitty Ridge Racer games, so I'm not going to say it's a great game.
The guy who does all the Ridge Racers is working on this one. He's not working on that weird one that we heard about that's all about crash and shoot stuff.
You mean the one that's made by the people who made Full Auto?
Was it Full Auto?
You didn't know?
I thought that it was... No, it wasn't Full Auto. It was that other thing about crashing cars. Because Full Auto with the cars with guns on them.
Okay, 1 second, and we'll go ahead and say... We're going to edit this and... of course, it's...
Flat Out.
I should have known. Oh, God, I love
It'll be hilarious if it was Full Auto, because then you'll say Full Auto again.
It was Full Auto. Goddamn Bob. That's how it'll...
It's like Schrodinger's dead joke. It's in the box. Is it funny? Who knows?
Don't collapse the waveform. It's embarrassing. You know what I'm really banking on with Ridge Racer, though?
What?
Ridge Racer for the PSP was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It had good gameplay. It had awesome multiplayer.
Except for that weird ad hoc time delay thing.
Yeah, that was one of the few multiplayer local wireless games I've ever played that had inconsistency between the different copies.
It was I was first place. You were what?
You were.
Two people in the room go, yeah! And then look at each other awkwardly. And then one of them just whispers, I just won. And the other one's like, me too.
Oh, no.
Then we have to compare the milliseconds. But in any case, what I'm banking on is an NGP Ridge Racer. Because I want that more than I want a 3DS Ridge Racer. I could see more featurization coming out of the processing power of the NGP and the network connectivity than the 3DS.
Yeah, I can't say 3D helps with Ridge Racer that much, but I guess depth could somewhat help.
Depth does help with racers. I have tried MotorStorm Pacific Drift in 3D, and that was pretty awesome. I do better when I can see in 3D on MotorStorm, especially.
Yeah, mostly I just want to drift with a touchpad.
Touchpad? Yeah, it would be funny if you could tap the back to activate the drift. To drift now, and then, that would actually be better than the let go, gas, press gas again, hold.
Yeah,
so
that makes you diddle the back screen, just drift.
So yeah, I gotta say, my prospects for the 3DS, there's no Castlevania announced yet.
Oh, that's...
don't know about Ridge Racer, and they changed the visuals for Pilot Wings enough where I have to doubt it. So.
3D Castlevania, all I can think of is Medusa heads now move in another dimension.
Yeah.
You're pretty fucked.
Oh my god, it's doing a double helix!
But yeah, I guess a lot of what we're banking on was that this 3DS is going to have a lot of developer support. I mean, they showed us at E3 that huge list of everyone here is supporting us.
Suck it.
I think they've said they're having like 3 Shin Megami games.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Oh, whoa, no, whoa,
whoa,
hey, whoa,
whoa, hey, whoa, hey, hey,
whoa,
hey,
hey,
whoa, whoa,
hey, whoa.
Okay. Please stop. We're done.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Dead air. That's what that was.
Yeah, so my prospects for the 3DS are kind of low, which is disappointing because, as I said before, I'm a huge portable gamer, and this will be the first portable out of... Actually, no, I didn't get the DS for about 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the PSP at launch. And I got the Game Boy Advance at launch, but I didn't get the DS at launch.
And this is the first time I'm trusting a Nintendo portable at launch.
You know what, Bob? That is a sure sign this thing's gonna fucking bomb. I've been to the movies with you before, and people know that when you go to the movies by yourself, it fucking blows. You, barely convince one other person to go, and then you go, and it fucking blows. Except for the other guys. The other guys rocked.
All right.
Just the main disappointing thing about this launch is I was so excited. You remember after E3, after the Nintendo conference, when we all still have huge Nintendo boners. The words that come out of my mouth were, fuck, there was a piece of my heart that was so excited about the PSP2, I can't find it anymore.
It is buried in the Shadow Temple, and I will have to go back in to find it.
But this launch list is not exciting to me.
Yeah,
that's how launch lists go a lot of times.
See, here's the thing. I hear that a lot as an excuse, but to be honest, with the PS2 and the PS3, more especially the PS2, the launch titles did show off stuff that could not be done before these hardwares came out. Really PS2 and 360. Because the 360, Call of Duty 2, that was fucking amazing. There was nothing like that before that. I mean, yeah, you had World War II shooters, but this was a whole lot more robust, I think, than anything that preceded it.
Right.
Plus, you had, with the 360, downloadable games. That was the first time we had that on consoles. So, I mean, with the 360 launch, the PS2 launch with, Dynasty Warriors, holy shit, fuck loads of characters.
I guess that,
which became its own genre. Holy shit, fuck loads of characters.
Yeah. With the Nintendo, with the 3DS, I think that they want to, or they probably aren't getting the Mario out. Because, usually they do have a Mario out.
Yeah.
But this time they're not doing a port.
Yeah.
And they're working on something that's actually a legitimate new Mario game. And that looked excellent.
Yeah.
From what we saw, just a few clips of at the GDC.
For launch titles, I'm actually wondering how quickly they're going to implement their new Virtual Console system.
That's actually going to be May, yeah.
May. So a lot of the features don't even show up till May. What else was there? Porting your games from your DSi doesn't show up till May. So me trading an English group. Netflix, which, Netflix isn't exactly what I'm going to use.
Downloadable games, yeah. In general.
When Engadget, I believe it was, I could be wrong, but when Engadget did their review of the 3DS, they said the battery life was only 3 hours.
Holy shit.
I have to wonder if since they had the Japanese version, they probably couldn't read the menus. I'm not saying, maybe they
You don't need a menu to realize, it died.
No, I'm saying maybe they couldn't figure out how to turn down the light and how to
That doesn't
do some other
change the
stuff.
fact it
Yeah.
fucking lasted 3 hours. My
Oh,
piece of
wait.
shit
And
laptop
also-
from a few years ago lasted longer than that.
Turn
Is it-
off attachable football stadium.
And
Oh.
also, was that always in 3D mode? Or because I read that review as well, and they didn't really give a.
They said mixed intense testing. You know, they were trying out all the features. They were like,
still at full 3D. It's designed to do 3D.
yeah,
That's
it's
the gimmick
you
of the
can't
device.
write off anything because it's doing what it's designed to do. Unless they fucking hacked it, it's doing what it's designed to do, and it lasts 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
If the NGP lasted that, like they said, it was going to be slightly longer than the 3DS's battery life back when the 3DS's battery life was a supposed 4 to 6 or 3 to 5 hours. Sony came out and they're like, our battery life's going to be 6. Oh, that's 1 more. 6. That seemed short then, but 3?
Yeah.
Shit.
That's pretty awful.
That's short. I don't know. Hopefully something went wrong with Engadget and they peed on it. And
Maybe they got the bad one, or maybe they did that thing with
the diddlin.
They should never do, and they showed it in an oven.
yeah,
Like
that's
the intern didn't charge it properly or
Yeah,
something.
they're like charger, no, dishwasher, yes.
Did you turn off the game while it was saving? God help you.
So yeah, I don't know. 3 hours, bad launch lineup, missing features till May.
Yeah, it feels like they really want to get it out and just
Go.
say it's out.
Yeah, see, I always have this theory ever since the revolution became the Wii. I always have to look at everything Nintendo does as part of a larger, insidious conspiracy for Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe they put the 3DS out, and most of the great shit about it isn't out for a couple of months. They get it out there, and nobody wants to buy it. So they don't have a repeat of no one can buy a fucking Wii. So they have enough time to keep making more, to flood stores with them. So by the time you're going to want to buy a 3DS, there's 3DSs to buy.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Huh.
that could be. It's all strategy, you know? Like, oh my god. Like the PS3 launch, and how it was like, oh my god, they're sold out. Oh my god, they're sold out again. By mid-December, they're not as sold out anymore. It's okay. And we all know why that was. Let's just say those games weren't exactly riveting with our shitty port of Tony Hawk Project 8.
I love the Gundam game.
Oh my god, I will leap over Eric and murder you with my bare hands.
His hands made of bears.
Yeah, those are pretty
Two
bad.
bears. This is Jesse and this is Big Rig.
Big
Rig?
Rig? Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Oh, it's like that.
But yeah, so on the NGP front, personally, I feel it has the potential to bring a lot more new features to portable gaming than the 3DS. Like, the 3DS is bringing updates, for once. You can patch games now, right?
Right. I believe that's in there.
Right? You look me in the eye and you tell me they can now patch things.
I'm almost certain.
Pokemon needs it. I'm tired of this Pal Park shit.
I don't know for sure.
Oh my god. Okay. In any case,
but they do have actual friends lists
downloadable
now.
content. They have mentioned that as a
Yes.
possibility.
Yes.
Oh,
They've-
yes,
Okay.
real friends lists.
And they've talked a lot about getting integrated with having a shop front that's like the Wii thing where you can go look at all the games that are out
Yeah.
and look at videos and look at pictures.
Yeah.
That's kind of nifty.
Yeah, that's almost remotely, kind of, sort of, in its own macabre fashion, like the PlayStation Network. And a distant relative of the godlike being that is the Xbox Live Arcade. But yeah, I don't like anything online on the Wii. Everything, my online experience with the Wii is like,
Now, one thing I've heard with the PS or with the 3DS,
yeah,
they do not have a messaging system with your friends yet. You cannot send them messages.
okay. So having online friends is fucking pointless.
Yeah, I don't see the point of having a portable Nintendo device if I cannot draw dicks in PictoChat.
Yeah, I don't. Dicto chat is not going to be the same.
There may be some way to direct connect like that, but there isn't a direct send a message like you'd send a message through the PlayStation Network or something.
Yeah, and honestly, you've seen my friends list on the PSN.
Yeah.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
If I couldn't send those people messages, fuck, it would be like 8 dudes. I would have a much smaller friends list and way fewer people asking me to make a trophy guide for Space Ace. So
Don't suck.
Hit these buttons?
In
The
this
button
order,
guide is on screen.
If you don't do it, you clearly have Down syndrome.
Like, seriously, do it twice. Did you not get all the trophies? Do it again better.
Pretty much. That's how that went. But the trophy guide for Dragon's Lair, I did have some strategy lists that were cheap as hell. In any case, point is, I wouldn't have online friends if I didn't have messaging. So them not having a messaging is kind of disappointing.
I would imagine that something else is coming in May.
You know, between...
That sounds like what's going on with
maybe
this
they should
online
just
network.
release it in May. When
That's a
everything's
thought.
ready.
Yeah.
with a better backwards
Done.
compatibility scaler for the screen. That would be nice.
Like, call Blizzard. Ask them how this works. They're going to tell you, release it when it's done.
You know, you're going to have trouble hearing them over their money counting machines. But...
No, see, they've actually outsourced all that to Activision. Activision counts all their money now.
Okay.
See, they send the bags of money to Activision. Activision just sends them Ferraris.
that makes a lot
Do they
of...
still like cough up money if they're talking?
Oh yeah, no, that's a constant problem. But he has a hole like smokers do.
Yeah.
So some of that will fall out, but every now and then it gets back.
Mostly
up.
coinage, mostly.
Just try not to stare. He's kind of sensitive about it.
Nice.
All right.
Who's he?
Blizzard.
Blizzard the he Blizzard.
Mr.
Yes.
Blizzard, you've never met him?
Oh.
He also made the delicious treats from Dairy Queen.
He's like the entrepreneur of the century.
He's the best person that ever lived.
You know what? You go back to your art college for your English degree.
Those of us here
I'm going to write some scathing poetry about all of you.
Oh, iambic pentameter?
No. I could if I wanted to, bitch. Maybe quatrameter. Can we talk about something else, please?
Yes, we can.
So the
That's okay.
NGP.
Yeah.
I'll look on the NGP. It looks pretty.
I think a lot of it wavers on or depends on the price. That's really
I'm gonna
important.
go with the price is $250. It's gonna be like they're gonna pull a PlayStation 1, walk out on stage, show off the amazing games for the NGP. Be like, we also have these amazing games. Like, this is another problem Sony has. Real quick, covering this. You remember E3 last year where they had so much shit to cover, they blew their load a half week early, showed up all their games. So I had trouble saying they won E3 because everyone's like, it wasn't at the show, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
They're probably going to do that again this year because they now have to worry about hyping a hardware launch too. So I think the NGP showing is going to be like, here's these awesome games, here's these features, here's us showing it to you, and the price is $250 or $200 if they're fucking crazy.
If they can get that down to 200, wow.
Wizards.
Wizards, yeah.
Wizards.
Poor wizards, apparently.
Sorcelators.
Yeah, they will be burning their own wallets.
They will be god kings of the universe.
Guys, remember when we had money?
But yeah, I think it's gonna be $250. And it has solid features. It's got a lot more networking stuff going on. It's got some good processing power. So I could see that processing power and the graphics capability and the high definition screen, or almost high definition screen, really bringing a lot to portable gaming.
Now, a lot of the touchscreen stuff, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the back panel and the front panel,
Yeah.
I don't see those being all that great. I'd see the touchpad being fine for like the main menu. That'll
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, that'll be great.
In a game where you actually have to touch the screen that you're physically using to control everything.
Well, that'll really depend on the game. See, like, what I'm hearing about the NGP, like, even right now, is a lot of the same shit I heard about the PSP. Like, oh, it's got pretty this, and it does hardware this really well. But where it fell down, what I really, really wanted with the PSP, aside from all the PS1 ports and the JRPGs, was what I was hoping is we reach this plateau in gaming of technical ability. We can do this shit. Ray tracing and all this bullshit, it's done. What I was hoping for with the PSP, with a downloadable game sort of culture, was a resurgence of, like, simpler games. 2D games with good art, side-scrolling games, strategy games, that kind of thing.
So what showed up on the DS?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
So what I'm really worried about with the NGP is it's going to do the same thing the PSP did, where it's really pretty, it's really powerful, like, even if they sell it at a good price, but if there isn't a library of games to support it. What it needs is a new gaming culture to support it.
Yeah.
It needs to garner a following. It needs to brand itself. It needs to create an idea around itself.
Better not be that fucking PSP spokes kid.
I think they learned their lesson.
No.
He hasn't shown up in months.
Yeah.
His voice showed up in one PSP commercial,
I
but he's
saw that.
no longer a character.
Okay, so here it is. Yeah, Sony's got some really bad marketing issues. In any case, here it is. Something interesting. When you scale up hardware this far, and you have a PC-like architecture, a lot of development becomes easier. Mm-hmm. And people have been announcing left and right engines and middleware that supports this. Physics now supports this. Unreal Engine will support this. So smaller development becomes easier through that, in a sense.
Yeah.
The PC-like architecture, all these high specs and blah, and middleware and stuff. So we could see a sort of resurgence of really nice budget titles that are built on these sophisticated softwares designed for complex hardware. Because of that, because you don't have to learn this completely new thing.
Yeah. And as we move forward in a technological society, we always see the dissemination of skill sets down from higher education and older systems. So, like Flash games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like fucking everybody and his dog is making Flash games nowadays. There's entire cultures, huge websites, this huge community of Flash games. And some things coming out of Flash games are you see it 5 years before you see it in the actual video game industry.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking might happen in maybe 10 years, we'll actually have a culture of kids just on the internet making games for these portable systems downloadable with these tools.
Yeah, it would be nice. Like PlayStation Suite, as I was saying before, is going to work across multiple platforms and be its own thing that is independent of hardwares. And that is a really good direction for Sony to go into. Mm-hmm. PlayStation Suite is a good indicator of how well Sony's going to adapt to the climate of gaming going forward. Mm-hmm. Because if they can't get a hardware agnostic platform going, it's going to be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Especially in the smartphone market. It's just...
Yeah, where they're trying to actually hit that and
exactly.
And make a larger share like that.
Yeah, exactly. Try to take a bite out of the smartphone market with the iPhone taking off as heavy as it is and Android starting to bud.
Yeah, as we
and I know that Nintendo Iwata was pretty much complaining about what's happening with the marketplace on iPhone, where everything is just, or not on iPhone, on Android, where there's just a flood of apps.
Yeah.
And it's hard for anyone to actually find good ones.
Yeah, see, that will always be a problem.
Yeah.
But see, we'll have, when the glut gets big enough, and this is the libertarian becoming out, the market will take care of it, there will always emerge a self-regulatory system.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, just word of mouth gets, hey, get this one.
So, yeah, because Iwata's saying that when he has the Wii, when market's being flooded with all these crap games.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty
hypocritical
as hell. Because I don't think any other platform currently has as much of a problem with crap games as the Wii and the DS. I mean,
mainly the Wii, yeah.
Mainly the Wii, yes, but you gotta admit the DS also does get a good fair share. Yeah, they get all those Imagine
games, and they get all those, just...
It may not even be a scrutiny coming from Microsoft or Sony. It may just be, the market's there. So these people aren't even interested in making these craptacular games for the other platforms. So I can't even give it as a credit to those other two companies. I can just point out the Wii and the DS have crap games in the bucket loads. There's buckets of crap. So Iwata saying that is like a pot saying the N-word, okay? That is... Look at all of you! Dude, you're black! Oh, shit.
This kind of lower budget, download-only gaming culture, it also sort of lends itself... Like, Dan, you were telling me about how the main Japanese gaming industry is actually kind of in trouble.
That is something I didn't bring up here at all, which would have been really brilliant for me to line up for this. There's a brilliant fucking user blog on Game of Sutra that is talking about the handheld market being the last bastion for Japanese developers. You know, with the Shin Megami people and a lot of people not acclimating to the next-gen architecture and sitting on the portables because the Wii is kind of a piece of shit. So, Nintendo and Sony bringing the portable markets into the current spec of hardware, that kind of abandons the Japanese market that's mostly migrated to portables. What were you going to say on top of that?
Yeah, it's just, if we push forward with the AGP, if we create the culture around it, since you have the PlayStation Suite thing with the portables merging with the phones, as we sort of start to blur the line between set platforms.
Yeah.
As we go forward with that, because you have fucking games you can play in your portable game player, your phone, your smart TV.
Yeah.
I guess the two big obstacles to this are Nintendo on one side having a game console being a separate thing, and then Microsoft on the other side, I guess, would be trying really, really hard to keep Sony shit off of PC.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that
That
either.
could show up on your PlayStation Suite now on Steam.
So that's actually what I was thinking about. Sony has a couple of options here. If they are to create this sort of culture, they would either have to change the way they do business with Microsoft, fucking ruin Microsoft as a PC company, which I don't see happening.
Yeah.
Or Gabe Newell rides in on a goddamn unicorn and high fives Kaz Hirai. Fucking rainbows and candy bars fly out, and the world is better forever.
Okay, 3 things I want to say about that real quick. One, interesting thing about that, Microsoft's really pushing the in the cloud service for Windows, so that way you can access your PC from anywhere and blah, 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 and all sorts of things.
Right.
I could see that developing into a sort of, we make games for this interface, you can now play it anywhere on the go, blah, blah, blah. It's on your PC, but you can play it blah.
Or your Windows phone. Maybe.
Exactly. So I could see that developing into that. Second thing, Sony did say a while back, I believe somewhere around 2007, when they got the sense knocked into them by the market, that they decided hardware sucks, and they're tired of that, and they're becoming a software company. And that was Kaz Hirai's #1 push as he went up the Sony ranks. That's why they started getting so many developers and so much talk between them. That's why Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios, damn, that's a hell of a name, started working with all these developers to see what they want. And PlayStation Move was the first piece of hardware out of them because of that. That's why the libraries for PlayStation Move are so self-explanatory. It's like giving out the metrics for what's happening, very clean cut. PS2 was a nightmare. PS3 is kind of a nightmare. OS mostly, for developers. So it's nice to see Sony become more software-oriented, more software-minded when it comes to hardware. I could really see them pushing in that direction, becoming a hardware-agnostic PlayStation Suite, blah, 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 blah.
It's just Darwinism, evolve or die.
Yeah, exactly. Third point, most interesting for, I think, the viewers here and for you guys to think about. When you're across so many pieces of hardware, right? What is the #1 thing that's going to change? Your interface. It isn't your spec, it's your interface. Because a TV, a PC, a portable, and your phone are all going to have different interfaces.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the least interface-centric way you can interact with a game? By selecting an action. What genre does that? RPGs. RPGs and adventure games could see a resurgence through this hardware-agnostic
Because
platform.
you have to bring things down back to their simplest thing.
Exactly. So that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Point-and-click RPGs.
Or
Exactly.
fucking
On my TV, on my phone. Susan, press X to tap screen to what was it? Damn. To Jason. Yeah. Tap screen to Jason.
Or it could be that as this sort of develops and games are being put on different things, and everyone realizes at once, oh god, there's a problem. These don't all have the same interface. Nyko's like, we have controllers that work on everything.
Do you have shit? It works on that.
And then like, wait a minute, why is Nyko the third most rich game company in the world?
Valve's #2. God started making games in 2013, so he's #1.
Like, I'd be interested in Sony as we talk about this new culture of the phrase you're coining, platform agnostic.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in Sony doing that. Nintendo's not going to do that because
Obviously.
they have an idea of what they want. I'd be scared of Microsoft trying to lead this charge because Microsoft has this idea as a company and they earned it. That Microsoft is going to do this, and you're going to follow Microsoft while they do this, because we're goddamn Microsoft, and we own half the fucking planet, and if you don't like it, you can eat a dick.
Honestly, what I find especially interesting is that it used to be Sony that was doing that from a platform standpoint. On PC, it's definitely Microsoft doing that as a standpoint. And when it comes to live, it's definitely Microsoft doing that as a platform. But in a lot of ways, a lot of different ways, Microsoft is sucking a lot of dick. Like, especially with the Japanese market, they're like, we need to succeed here. Developers, money, 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 please. And, it's kind of, they're not as bullish in that way.
You see, that's what I'm hoping, is the Japanese market. If we create this smaller scale gaming culture, the Japanese market sees a resurgence in this area, tells Microsoft to fuck off. And that would carry a revolution.
I would really like, I would really like Sony to be courting Japanese developers for smaller PlayStation Suite or NGP games.
Yeah.
It's like Pixel Junk's my favorite series on the PlayStation Network. It's probably the only series on the PlayStation Network, but I can say, hands down, just about every time I want to play a PlayStation Network title, I'll tell you Pixel Junk.
Because that's really what we need to realize as an industry is that video game is not a genre anymore.
Yeah.
It is a medium.
Yeah.
So we need to understand that we cannot call we have to create a wider spectrum here. It has to be everything from top AAA down to another Tetris remake. Yeah. We have to get this full gamut in if we're going to do this cross-platform thing.
Exactly. That is exactly right. Like, Pixel Junk, the reason why it succeeds, the reason why it can do what it do what it does, and be successful at it is because it's its own creature.
Yeah.
It's Q Games. They're working closely with Sony, but they're their own company.
Yeah.
Being a part of Sony would destroy their weird art studio vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing. I mean, each company needs to
Have its own culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft has fucked over so many companies.
Talk about Ensemble Studios.
Yeah, Ensemble. People who made Command and Conquer, that is.
No,
wait,
Age
sorry.
of
Age of
Empires.
Empires. Sorry. Age of Empires, yeah. That's why they went under eventually. They were
made to make some Halo game, and then they
God.
that, of course, failed.
That'll kill any studio. Make a Halo game.
Why did it sell
No,
like the other
please.
ones? Because it's a strategy game?
I
Look
just had
like Bungie?
sort of a nightmare vision.
They also tried to get Bungie inside of Microsoft Studio, and Bungie had a shit
was like,
fit.
Yeah. Like,
that.
wait, do you know who the fuck we are?
They took a tour and just said, ha ha ha, fuck that. We come to work drunk. This isn't going to work. What were you going to say?
I said I had a nightmare vision of you have all these smaller studios with their own cultures, and they exist everywhere, and it's this great smorgasbord of you don't like this, you can go here, and it's this great culture, and then Activision starts buying all of them in hostile takeovers.
That actually
Yeah.
reminds me of something hilarious. Activision held a contest for an indie game, right? Okay, they were going to buy the rights to this indie game and publish it and support you and blah, 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 blah. Here were the weird-ass rules. I forget the other stipulations, but the major one that was just fucking weird and showed they did not understand indie game culture in the fucking least is the indie game had to be fully formed, or just about, and had to be presented to them before it was publicly known. Indie games are very much developed openly.
Yeah.
Very few indie developers finish the game and then release. They constantly release smaller versions or show videos and get feedback and blah, 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 blah. So the fact it did not...
That just sounds like Activision being lazy. Someone give us a game to sell so we can have street cred.
We want street cred, can pay money. So, pulling back... The NGP has a lot of potential with the PlayStation Suite, with the sophisticated enough hardware to be generally programmable, like a lot easier to deal with. Hell, one of the slides actually said you can easily fit most of your game in the RAM, so it's probably going to have 512 or even a gig of RAM. Mm-hmm. That's not going to be too taxing on any indie developer, I don't think. So, a lot of processing power, sophisticated hardware. I think the NGP has a lot of promise. Whether or not Sony delivers on that.
Hopefully they don't try and pull some like really weird stipulations like, oh, the games have to be 3D or else it won't be showing up on our platform.
I think they've learned their lesson. I think the PS3's online store is a good, indicator of that.
That's true. Not all that.
Pixel Junk.
Yeah, Pixel Junk is.
Pixel Junk's like so close to Sony, and it's completely 2D. Mm-hmm. Like I'm checking that statement now to see if I'm right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure completely 2D, like every Pixel Junk game.
Yeah.
So, so I think they learned their lesson. I think they really learned from PS1 and PS2 that if you keep screwing the developers when stuff gets hard on you, no one's there to watch you get raped. Or everyone's there to watch you get raped. Nobody's helping you. The PS3 launch, it was rape.
Yeah.
Our wallets. So yeah, so once again, I actually don't think you two have spoken your opinions on the NGP yet. Like, whether or not you're interested, whether or not you would get one.
I'm poor.
But say you had the money, would
Let's say you're a different person.
If I was,
You're black.
like I mean
And can fly.
Do you,
If I had the money for
do
an
you
NGP, I'd
have
buy a
some sort of
sandwich.
interest in those?
if I was Chad
those-
Vandermoney, then
Then, of course. I mean, I already have the Sony Ericsson phone, the Sony
I would buy
Ericsson
two and
bed.
wear them like cufflinks.
probably. It really depends on what's going to be available to it.
Yeah, it is backward compatible with the PSP games, and I know that... digital ones. And I know that the screen's going to look gorgeous. So,
Yeah.
So at very least, it has strong appeal to me on that front. Like, hey, we can take these games you own, or kind of own, and make them prettier.
Now that's one of the big things. Was hopefully, almost certainly, it'll be remedied by E3. We don't know what's going to be on the NGP.
Aside from what they've announced so far, like Little Deviants,
Yeah, like
Resistance,
a couple of games.
Little Big Planet, Call of Duty, Uncharted. Yeah,
Right, so,
and
I
a
mean, those
few
are just-
other games.
Those are a lot of big Sony frontliners. Probably not going to be making launch.
Probably not,
That's almost certainly
no.
not.
So here's my hope. Starhawk.
Yeah.
Starhawk would sell me in a fucking heartbeat. You don't even know, Sony.
That would make sense for why we've been hearing this weird rumble of Starhawk over years
Exactly.
and not able to actually see anything on it.
And why they can't even tell us too much, because, you know, when you're making a portable game, it would be quite obvious early on that it's
Yeah,
like,
if you release a screenshot, it'd be like, why isn't that, anything?
why
like...
isn't that prettier? Man, this looks really, really bad.
We're a shitty company now, did we tell you?
Yeah, we became Lightbox Interactive. Our original name was Shitbox, not as interactive. Kojima was talking about his game that he's not able to show off or talk about yet. That apparently is going to bridge the PS3 gameplay and the NGP gameplay.
Yeah, he did
and
talk about that.
I think that plays a lot into the whole cloud thing and how much the PS3 and the NGP are going to interact. So I'm really interested in that. Aggro?
I think I've spoken at length about it. It's really pretty much, I use PlayStation Portables for PS1 games and PSN games pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I played, mostly what I used my PSP for was Final Fantasy Tactics,
Yeah.
Valkyrie Profile,
Yeah.
and Final Fantasy Tactics.
And Ridge Racer.
Yeah, back in the day when Final Fantasy Tactics wasn't out.
Yeah, this is true.
In the before time.
There's a lot of data that can be tracked to pre and post Final Fantasy Tactics market share for various platforms. But yeah, okay. So interested, and on the 3DS, everyone seems just kind of mildly disappointed by the launch lineup.
Vaguely ambivalent towards it.
Yeah.
I have a little bit. I have some confidence. I think they'll do well.
I think vaguely ambivalent is the most non-committal emotional state I have.
You should
ever
run for
had.
president.
Yeah.
Eric for president. He'll do stuff.
Maybe.
If he feels like it.
I'll put it on my to think about list. So yeah, there we go. So that's the opinion of people at GigaBoots.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Check out our quick plays, video reviews, and blah 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 blah.
Please care about our opinions.
It's been 2 hours. You have to. It's been more than 2 hours.
Help us.